The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to the BLKOUT Rewind podcast. I'm your host, the Big Llama. This is the podcast where we talk about movies, we break down movies, we talk about our favorite parts. It's coming from the perspective of movie fans, and the movie we're going to cover tonight is none other than Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. And this is a rarity for the BLKOUT Rewind podcast. We're reviewing a relatively new movie, but it's just because it's been so impactful and it's so fucking awesome that we want to just talk about it. So I'm bringing on my co-host from the Sunday Night Live stream, BLKOUT AD, to review the movie with me, to talk about this movie, because we both seen it and we got different perspectives on it, and I can't wait to start talking about it. So guys, welcome to the BLKOUT Rewind podcast. So AD, welcome, sir.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Nothing, man. This movie, man. This movie is an amazing piece of film. Before we start, so your viewing experience. So how did you see the movie? What format? And then
I saw it in what was it? The IMAX, like the actual the expensive one. So that was my first IMAX experience ever. I pulled the llama for this one. Really, it was Tangeray. Tangeray was like, "Bro, we got to see it in IMAX," and I was like, "All right, well, if we're going together, you want to see it like that, I'll spend the money." Usually, I'm not that kind. I don't care. I'm just watching the movie. But
right,
as a first IMAX experience, I don't think there was a better movie. I mean, I'm sure there is, like maybe Avengers Endgame or something. But just in like what the movie did in terms of like the sound, the visuals, the things that were going on through the movie, I was like, this was like the perfect viewing, for me at least. I didn't know much about it going in. I don't know how much you knew about.
No, I didn't know much, and which was a good thing. And leading up to it, I knew, because I like historical films. I like films that are based on true stories. I like documentaries.
Hold up. Did you tell them to put the kids to bed?
Oh, I didn't tell them to put the kids to bed. Put the kids to bed. This is an adult podcast.
Fucking kids to bed, dude.
I forget to tell them that. I forget to tell the people.
Well, I'm glad. All right, but yeah, go ahead. My bad.
So no. So I love based on true stories. I love documentaries. I love anything that's historical, because I don't know if it's historically accurate, but I love the fact that it's real, right? And so I didn't want to look up this stuff. I didn't know about it. I mean, I heard about it, and when I saw the commercials, figured it out, but there was so much that I didn't know who the players were, and the fact that, and this is the weird part, right? This is your first IMAX movie, and granted, it's got action sequences, right? But it's not your traditional IMAX film where some use it for spectacle, right? Like, oh, we're doing a giant car chase scene. It's great to see it in IMAX, but this one was purposely made for that screen so that is a character study, and it's emotions, it's expressions, it's little facial cues, and little twerks or twerks. No one's twerking in Oppenheimer. Cardi B was in there. Yeah, everybody.
No, I mean, somebody was twerking in Oppenheimer, dude. Florence Pugh was throwing it back.
Oh my God, yes she was. Yes she was. That was an awkward thing too. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But no. I honestly, the fact that it was an IMAX and that it was a dialogue heavy, type movie, just lends to the experience. Now, it was perfect viewing. Like it was so captivating. I mean, 3 hours. You're asking a lot of a moviegoer for 3 hours, and so did you feel the 3 hours in
not
the
at all?
Time?
Not at all. So my thing was going into the movie. It was 10:50. That was the only viewing we could get because it was on a Monday, and that was the only viewing we can get because we were gonna do it like matinee, and then we look and it's like, oh yeah, the next viewing is at 10:50. It's like, so I think I streamed a little bit beforehand, did the late night. And I was like kind of tired, like going into it, like I was like feeling it. I was telling my girlfriend, and you know me, I'm not ashamed to fall asleep in a movie theater. I don't like 9 times out of 10, I already know the plot. You know what I mean? Like, and if I fall asleep, I guess it's not that good. So like going into it, I'm like, yo, I'm tired. And I know this movie's 3 hours. It's 10:50. Like I'm already feeling it. And I tell you, when I get in, first off, I think it was the IMAX experience. I honestly do think it's what kept me up, because as soon as I saw the previews, it was the new Exorcist movie coming out. That preview was like, it like woke me up immediately, because it was creepy, but also like just, again, my first IMAX experience. That was like what I saw. I was like, damn, I was like, this shit's crazy. So from that moment on, I was kind of like locked in the whole time. Didn't fall asleep, didn't feel tired. Was almost like, I mean, you know you're there for a while, but you don't feel like you're there for a while. There's some movies that it drags. This one did not, because it was really fast paced too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, from the beginning, it had a lot in terms of storytelling that it had to do. So you have to learn about Oppenheimer and his background a little bit, right? You can't spend the whole movie there, right? Then you've got the actual requisitioning and creating the bomb, the Manhattan Project, and then you have the aftermath, which done perfectly, because it felt like 3 different movies, that were lumped in. But Christopher Nolan in all his movies doesn't go in order. So even in Oppenheimer, you're jumping from one period to another and flipping back and forth, which again, I think it keeps you guessing or thinking about, like it's stimulating the brain, like, oh, we're back in his school days. Oh no, now we're in Manhattan Project. Oh no, we're in the aftermath. And I think at the end, after the bomb goes off,
it kind of just goes straight.
It goes straight into like it's linear at that point. Yeah. But I like the fact that I wasn't sure where we were, but it just was so intriguing.
Yeah.
Each piece. Like,
and if it's done right,
it
continues to tell you all parts of the story at the same time. So it kind of like, in a weird way, keeps you not engaged, but like it gives you all the possible information that you need to know for the whole movie in its parts. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, if this is happening in the trial, like what led to this point? So you're thinking about that. Then you start, like, obviously it's tying in like kind of like similar topics of like what they're talking about in the investigation plus what's actually going on. And if you notice, like the real time, a lot of it was like in black and white more so than like the past, which I thought was a nice little touch.
Yeah. I mean, and it's jarring, like a ginormous screen, black and white, the contrast, it's there. It's like you cannot turn away.
No.
I mean, it does it well for that, but just I mean, I had told you that I think when I saw it, and my experience was that the breaking of the sound, the like, for an audience, and again, let's just be real, an audience who is used to instant gratification, used to quick changes, used to quickly keeping you in tune. That was his trick, was in between dialogue heavy pieces, you've got action in terms of what's going on in his brain, the breaking of the atoms, and it's just a constant barrage of what's going to happen next. And then he hits you with sound, he hits you with music. The music by, what was it, Ludwig?
Yeah.
Who did the Black Panther, and he did a bunch of great movies. That music just perfectly went with the and it was loud. See, that's the thing. I know people were complaining about the dialogue being a little hard to hear. Didn't have that problem with me in IMAX, but I think in a smaller theater, you might have that experience because the music is pretty loud.
So I was thinking about that because, again, watching reviews beforehand, before going to see it, there was a lot of people like mentioning that, but I didn't feel like anything. Like, I don't think I missed any of the dialogue. Like, but the rest of it is very like, it's not only loud, it's very like I don't know, it's like it's visual chaos and it sounds like it, you know. It's honestly kind of crazy. I think before I saw the movie, when you were talking about it on the Big Llama show, 10 p.m. Eastern, I think I mentioned, or I said it feels, or is it like Jimmy Neutron's brain blast? And you were like, yeah, kind of. And when I saw it, I was like, that's literally what I feel. Like, this is like the most chaotic version of that. Like, being that smart, having all these thoughts. Like, he was literally envisioning the bomb his whole life. And also, one thing about the movie that really made me think about just life in general. I mean, obviously the movie makes you think about life because it's like, is it worth taking that many lives? You see the effects of what happens to Oppenheimer, which I think is the most important part, because it's like he did it for science, but as a human, he felt like shit, right? And
Yeah.
I also feel like, I kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that. I had a very good point.
No, but
it'll come back to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, but to your point, Oppenheimer is his own worst enemy. Like, he at first envisions this amazing, contribution. And Einstein, I think that was a great piece, is that Einstein saw what he saw in terms of, okay, this is going to be nuclear fission and energy there. But I think Einstein said, look, he gave the warning. You cannot turn back once this goes forward.
Yeah.
And so I think Oppenheimer being ambitious, being, at least again, my take on it, him being ambitious, or at least being the scientist that he was, says, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And then as he's doing it, he realized, I think that's the storytelling of Christopher Nolan. He realizes like the terror he's about to unleash, but then he justifies it and is like, if they see how bad this is, no one will ever do this again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the greed of men, you give that temptation to men, and that's what happens. Yeah. Now everybody has nuclear weapons. It's nuclear proliferation. It's crazy. Yeah. But he did not. He thought it was going to be so extreme that it would wipe it all out. So. Yeah. And he was wrong. And that's I think what not kills him, but like what eats away at him after the fact, because it did not stop a thing. And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, it did scare everybody, but I do remember where I was going with that though. I remembered in the middle of it. I was like, damn, I remember. But what the movie kind of like, I don't know, again, it makes you think about that side of life, like death and shit. But it also makes you like, or it made me at least think about like, damn, you really are here for a reason. Because if all these things are true, and it does seem like it's very accurate, and like there's got to be some truth to the way Nolan depicts like how Oppenheimer is, how Oppenheimer thinks. Like if he really was thinking this shit, and like, I mean, even the New Mexico thing, like he was put here for a reason, right? And it just feels like the path was set for him the whole time. And it's kind of like, even like they even talk about like the Apple thing, but like it's kind of a foreshadowing of, he didn't kill him, but he killed a lot of people, right? Like it's just kind of like he did it with poison, so he used his mind to, like, I don't know. It was a weird scene to put in, but also it happened, and I don't know. It was just like a weird, like, put it in a weird perspective of, damn, like he was put here to do that in New Mexico, where he always said, I want to bring science to New Mexico, and built a town. Or it's like, it's crazy how things in your head like just roam, and you have no idea, no reason why, there's no like explanation to it, and then it like comes and manifests.
What I can't understand, and I'm sure there's genius people now, I don't think we celebrate them now, but what always fascinates me is the just fucking the brain power it takes to develop these thoughts. Like the bomb itself has like multiple components, right? You've got the nuclear fission, you've got the detonation, you've got sort of all these things happening, and you had all these scientists, fucking like brainiacs, who at the time are launching people into space. They're creating nuclear fission. They are just creating the breakthroughs of the new century. And it's crazy. Again, I know that there are people doing this now, but to think of it, I don't know. I think you think of back in the day, and you think like, you don't have the technology, you don't have the resources, but you're developing it. So I think it's, to me, is more impressive, but it's still an amazing thing that we're doing. But
I just think back then, I mean, with like the stuff, or with society how it was, like you said, less technology, like they had to create it, but also the government didn't have as much control on like a scientist in Harvard or one of those big schools, or wherever Oppenheimer was. Like he knew a whole bunch of scientists. His whole the whole movie was just a bunch of different scientists with different personalities doing different things, and it was like, you got to think now the government probably has a hold of. They probably find a lot of these people early on, bring them in, and they're doing it under the wraps. Like back then, it was like, it's never been done before, so the press is going to cover it. People are kind of astounded by it, like now I think it's more like let's keep things controlled, you know, because even like in the movie, like it shows like how the government just took over. It's like this guy just built it and then pushed him to the side.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of just were like, even the president, like, get this crybaby out of here. Like, you know,
that
like,
was,
he's like, I had to push the buttons. Like, what? Like, I made it. You wouldn't have a button to push. Like,
exactly. I think that was probably one of the more not disappointing in the sense of the movie. I think I was just very disappointed that no one heeded the warning, right? Like, and even though I know what, and this is again, I knew what the outcome is because I know that we have nuclear weapons everywhere. But in that moment of that story, I kind of felt like maybe there's a chance. Like, I don't know why. I just knew. I was like just in there and I'm like, okay, the president will at least hear him out or at least say something that was going to be, remorseful. The fucking guy's like, I'm the guy who pushed the button.
That they said that was the actual fact.
Yeah.
That was the actual fact. He really said that.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Get this guy out of here.
Yeah, get this crybaby out of here. But
to me, that's crazy because that just shows like the level, not intellect. I guess intellect would be the word, but just like he's seeing it on a different spectrum. And the guy like clearly was like, "No, I did this. Like you didn't do nothing.
Exactly.
You didn't put this together. You didn't. No, we did this. United States put this together."
Yeah. No, and honestly, one of the things that I think was great about this movie in terms of the younger generation and younger people is that
put them on map. Like it gave them the knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's you need, and this is why I think art and entertainment and these types of things help to educate people. And again, I hate to say that movies and TV will give you their knowledge, but that's how we're absorbing it.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I personally, I felt when, again, you talked about it before I saw it. So we had the conversation on the Big Llama show. And I remember you were telling me like Lucas and Angie's kind of like perspective, like they didn't really know what happened. And like even me, I didn't know as much about it. You know, like I wasn't in depth. When I got home, again, the movie was 3 hours long. It was like 1, 2 in the morning by the time I got home. I'm like researching. I smoked a little bit and started researching just up. And I was like, how true is this? Like I was diving deep. I was watching actual clips of him talking and like it really opened my eyes. But to that point, you got to make the art this good. You got to make it this compelling, right? Like this movie is, I mean, it's one of the best movies that's come out, last 10 years, maybe? Like it's got to be like top 10, one of the best movies that's come out in the last 10 years, especially with like the pandemic and all that shit. Like this movie definitely was an eye-opening experience. And like, even like what they painted in the movie really well to me was the race with the other countries to get the bomb done and how we were behind. Like I had no clue about that, you know, like, but like we were behind and that added another element. And I think that's why it felt so fast paced. Like it was like, we're on a time crunch. Like these guys got to figure it out. Or, you know, again, like to your point, like it kind of makes you feel like this is just a story that Nolan came out with in his head and just made up. But
no. And so the tension that he creates with that race to get it done is genius because again, if you know about the story, it still will drag you in. But if you don't know anything about it, you are in the grips of his storytelling. It's like, fuck, the timer, Hitler died. We're still going for it. The Russians have it. The Cold War, like they're using all these techniques to say we got to get it done. And I love the it was kind of a montage, but they were talking about Oppenheimer's like the Germans already have it. The Germans are 6 months ahead of us. And they're like, and they're just going through the timetables and everything. And it's a lot of science, man. And that's what another thing was like. I was like, they didn't kill me with the science. Like, I feel like I'm competent enough to understand it, but I didn't get lost anywhere. There were some terms and things that they were talking about that I was like, okay, I get the gist of it, but I didn't quite understand. But for the most part, I never got lost in the story, which is great. Great.
No, and it kept your attention. And again, it was written so well, like, because going back, from the present to the past to some random time where he's meeting his girlfriends each time. Like those are like random spots in the movie. And, like it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe people felt lost. Like we cannot say like it doesn't lose people, but for like to your point, like I was like I'm locked in. Like I need to know how we get from here to here. And honestly, I was crazy. Robert Downey Jr. I almost said Tony Stark's character. Tony Stark's character. Robert Downey Jr.'s character was like he seemed like a sleazeball from the beginning, and I was like, I feel like they're trying to paint him as like he's a good guy and he's like his friend, but I feel like deep down he does not like this guy. And like by the end of the movie, you're like, this guy's a piece of shit.
That was one of those jaw-dropping moments when because you're not, and that's the other part was like he weaved in the story. You weren't looking for it. You weren't looking for like we knew there was the spy. I think that came out somewhere in the bottom half of that movie, but we weren't looking for like who is fucking this up. We were looking like, all right, what's next? What's going to happen with with the trial? With this stuff, and to just weave in a like a revenge story, and all the pieces were there. That was like, oh shit, like that. It's weird. I didn't think I'd have a oh shit moment in the movie, but that was it for me. I was like, oh no, don't tell me Robert. Oh, this fucking guy. And like, so
is that the benefit of us not knowing exactly what happened in history? Because coming out of it and then again doing the research, it's like, oh, I should have known going in. Like this guy's not a good guy. But in the movie, I'm like, I thought he was cool. Like it's Robert Downey Jr. It's Tony Stark, dude. He's a nice guy.
No,
billionaire philanthropist. Tony Stark.
Yeah, no, and he was also a smart guy, a smart side. His dad, But no, I almost said John Starks, like from the Knicks. No, but that's a credit to the movie itself. And like I said, I gauged this not only that I enjoyed it, but that my kids enjoyed it who were younger.
Yeah.
And how they left the movie. So I was kind of like, okay, I thought it was a really good film. I loved it, thought it was great, amazing. When my younger kids who watched it with me said the same thing and said they were amazing and they couldn't stop talking about it. I said that movie has done its job. Like it makes you think, it makes you like contemplate life. It made you enjoy, like you enjoyed the visuals, you enjoyed the story, and then at the end you're like, we're fucking doomed. We are fucking doomed. And that I think that was weird because prior to Big Poppy watching it, he was texting me. He got a little nervous about it, and he's like, "Dad, I heard this is like a horror movie." I texted back. I said, "It's a horror movie because it's true." Yeah. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're gonna see what I'm talking about." So when we finished the movie, we had a long talk on the car ride home about, hey, we have the power to destroy ourselves in this world today. There's so many weapons that obviously we probably don't even know about, but every powerhouse has one. And I told them, if we launch, they launch, and then they launch, and we're done. Everything is fucking done. And I think that kind of scared the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But because now they understood how it got developed, what it means, I think they respect that the weapon. They respect the nuclear weapons, and they're scared.
You can disrespect it all you want.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Did you feel like you were gonna get blown up after?
I thought like how close could it be, right? I mean, you got fucking crazy ass King Jong whatever, launching ballistic missiles left and right, and does he really have one or not? Like who knows, right? But
yeah.
But let's shift. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, go ahead. We can
I was gonna say let's shift to because trust me, we could talk about the nuclear stuff all night, but I kind of want to shift into the cast itself, some of the great impactful scenes, the acting, and then we obviously got to talk about the bomb, right? That whole sequence.
Oh yeah,
was just.
The two most powerful sequences was when they first launched the bomb, and I like how that's how they showed us because he could have easily went with the like actual bombing, you know what I mean? Like, which would have been like, which I bet you, like, if it wasn't a 3-hour movie, you could have put that in there. But the movie was probably already too long. Like, nah, we don't need that. But I do like how it was like kind of an intimate moment when that bomb actually drops. and how like they were all celebrating, but there was like a weird like, like fuck. And then when he's in the gymnasium and like
Oh God.
what he goes through and like how happy everybody is, but he's like they don't understand why they're so happy. Like this is like we think we won, but this is a lot scarier than anticipated. But one thing I do want to say is it was interesting how like they were uncertain exactly how big the explosion was, because like they built that with not knowing if it could blow up the whole world just with one bomb. Like, you know what I mean? If they do too much, it's like they put a little bit too much salt, we might all be gone.
That was like broken down in that scene with Matt Damon when he asked what's the probability, is like close to zero. And he's like, I want fucking zero.
He's like, yeah.
When we're dealing with nuclear bombs, I want fucking zero. I don't want close to zero.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was So no, and the reason I want to shift just to the actors is because
they deserve their props.
Right, but we had talked about, I think, a little bit about they use the actors as actors, not cameos, not like, hey guys, it's Matt Damon. It's each character was acting and doing their part, and it showed, right? I went down the cast list, so I'm just gonna ramble off the names. So you got obviously Oppenheimer. We know it's either Cillian Murphy or Cillian Murphy. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Probably one of those is correct. We'll just run down the list. Emily Blunt, who was in the background for most of the movie, and then when it was her time, she
had she had the best like scene when she took over the room. And like I love how like, because obviously they allude to her like being drunk the whole time, and even like the lawyer was like, I don't want to put her up there, and he's like, listen, she's got this. And like the whole her like fumbling when she first sits down, and she's like kind of like looks like she's scared, and then as soon as it can swing her way, it does, and it's like, oh yeah, she was in control this whole time. Like, like what you don't got this. This is the one, and it was the one. And think about all the smart people that were getting interviewed, and they were getting spun by that guy. They were either already getting paid for it, or some like the seeds were already planning to go against him. And she was like the one character that had his back, like truly had his back the whole time. And I mean, it even at the end when she didn't shake the guy's hand, like she's like, I would never shake his hand, and then didn't do it at the end. I was like, she was the solid. He was his backbone the whole time.
Exactly. Even though they had a rocky relationship, which is interesting. That you had Matt Damon, who was in the movie more than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
But the dude always delivers, man. I mean, I don't know. In movies that I've seen him in, he's always pretty consistent. Yeah. But it was great. He was the government, and that's fucking. He didn't give a shit about it, and he just like railroaded everything, which was great. You got Robert Downey Jr. as Lewis Strauss, which I think
phenomenal.
He's gonna get the Oscar nod for it. Will he win? I don't know. It just depends on who he's going against. But.
Yeah, I was about to say, who is he going against? Like,
no, that's what
that would be what? That would be he would be in supporting actor.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm not for that familiar, but he's definitely gonna get the nod for that. Obviously, Cillian Murphy will get it for Oppenheimer. Emily Blunt could possibly get it, right? Even though some people have won it with limited screen time, with like 5 minutes on screen. So she's one that can get it. You had Alden. I can't say his last name, but he was the guy who played Solo in the Solo movie.
Okay, yeah.
He was the Senate aide. Like every person who showed up on the screen, the movie nerd in me was like, oh, that's that guy. But like after 30 minutes, that guy stopped like completely. I was like, I don't give I'm in the story.
It's funny. It's funny because in the movie, obviously, you made the comment. You're like, they got all A-list actors except Josh Peck. It's like, right there, you just go shoot him. And he was the only person, for me at least, in the movie that like threw me off because he was the one who pushed the button for the test bomb. And I'm like,
I told you he played a big role.
Why is Josh doing this? It's like he before that he had like maybe 3 lines. He's like, he's the one pushing the bomb. Why? I'm sure they set it up early, but it was just, to me, it was like that was the one person that like took me out of the movie. I'm like, I don't get it.
If I were to spoof the movie, I'd have him come back in that role, and then the button would be like Miranda Cosgrove's face smashed. But
I like. Well, now you got to say he did good as well. But like even
great.
The act of like when he went to go push the button, he paused.
Yeah.
Like out of like being scared, like his hand was shaking. Like I thought that was like tremendous hand acting.
It was great. No, honestly, I saw him.
All A-list stars except Josh Peck. I was
Josh
like,
Peck.
No way, bro. Drake and Josh is huge. What are you talking about?
If Drake was in it, that'd be it.
No, he cannot be in it.
He cannot be in it. We'd have issues like Ezra Miller issues.
A little spicy.
Yeah, he is. Anyway, we don't want to talk about Drake. You have Jason Clarke, which was, I think he was in the Terminator. He was John Connor. Again, I'm just thinking of the movies that I've seen him in. Tony Goldwyn. He's been in a bunch of shit. Like these guys can take movies on their own. Kenneth Branagh, who is like a big time director. He was in Harry Potter. He directed, and he's the new inspector guy. I mean, you could just keep going down the list, and it's just an A-lister all the way down. But it didn't matter. Like it didn't matter. And I think the Truman was Gary Oldman in a 4 minutes in the movie or whatever. And they've got one of the biggest guys, one of the biggest actors out there to play the president for 4 minutes.
I think that I heard it on one of the podcasts I was listening to, but somebody made a point where it was like, it's nice that Christopher Nolan's gonna get an Oscar for this movie in some aspect, but it didn't feel like he tried. But like when you think about like the actors he assembled for this movie, it was like he really didn't know how special this movie could and probably would be. Like he was like, listen, my vision for again, like he's like an Oppenheimer in terms of like building the bomb. Like he sees the vision. He got all the right high level people and put them in those positions. And I mean, it paid off. Like there was no slacking in this movie. Like nobody's acting was bad. There was no, I don't know. I feel like and even though it's a 3-hour movie, I don't feel like there was wasted scenes with any of these, wasted dialogue with anybody. Like everybody's dialogue was important for what the story Christopher Nolan was trying to tell.
Yeah, every scene, every touch point felt important.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just I didn't sit there and go, oh, that's great. Even the what people would say was the gratuitous nudity of Florence Pugh, right? Like, I think chef's kiss.
You could have just let it go, dude. You don't have to mention it.
Listen. I admire. Here's the thing, right? Like, I admire that. Obviously, Florence Pugh is a very beautiful woman on the screen. Showing all her bits in IMAX, which was great.
High quality shit.
High quality, yeah. The young kid in me was smiling, but honestly, did she kill herself or did she get killed? Like
I think that was left. Yeah, I think that was left for interpretation, but you can speculate either way, right? Like the way he shot it was like, that's my first thought. She took herself.
Right.
But when you think of like the story and even again doing the research after, it's like, oh, she probably might have got killed. Like she's very close to him. Everybody knows he loves her just as much as he loves his wife. Like clearly, like even the wife, like the scene where she was like, you saw like kind of like you saw her again, like that hurt her. But I don't know, like I like how he shot it because he didn't specifically say one or the other. It was like it could be either way. Like obviously everybody knew what was going on. There's a spy. They were already trying to look for the spy. Like anything can happen. It's like, and who killed her? Like
right.
Maybe somebody was. It didn't even have to be the U.S. It could have been anybody trying to torture her for information because again of how close her relationship is with Oppenheimer. So I thought that was a good way to put it because I think it would have cheapened if it was like, yeah, the government killed her, and then at the end you see Tony Stark be like, yeah, I'm the bad guy. You know,
Exactly. I did this.
Yeah,
No,
I killed her too.
What and this is again the layers of the movie. I think we glossed over it. There was the whole communist party, uprising. There was the forming of work unions. There was spies. There was espionage. There was all this shit that was in just layered in pieces of the movie. That I think that's why it's probably going to be good on a repeat watch, because you're going to find something new that you sort of gravitate towards that you didn't see the first time.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I am just fascinated by the storytelling. But what I want to do is really quick, and we're almost late. We're late in our podcast, but I want to play the trailer only because
I knew you were gonna do it. I was like, we didn't even get to the trailer.
We didn't. No, but the more I think about it, you can say there's a genius to the marketing of it, but after you see the movie, it's not the marketing that makes you talk about this movie. It's really just what you saw, what you experienced. But now that we've seen the movie, let's watch the trailer and see if we pick up on anything that either drew our attention to it. So let's see here.
This is a national emergency.
Detonator charged.
The B-lister.
The B-lister. I mean, oh God.
I didn't talk about how when they blew up the bomb, I thought it was brilliant that they silenced everything.
Right, and that's what I want to talk about. We're going to watch this, and then just talk about the bomb, and then we'll close out the show.
Nazis have a bomb.
Yeah, man.
We have a 12-month head start.
18.
How could you possibly know that?
Because he knows the guys.
Right.
All America's industrial might and scientific innovation connected here. A secret laboratory. Keep everyone there until it's done.
Alamos was crazy too.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they built that. I wonder, is Newtown based on that?
I think it is.
Don't let scientists bring their
think it
families.
is.
We'll never get the best.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere for who knows how
I was obviously
long?
talking over for copyright.
Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
Why?
The YouTube thing.
How about because this is the most important thing to ever
I thought
happen
it
in the
looked
history
sick.
of the
I thought
world?
the bomb looked sick.
Yeah.
You're the great improviser, but this you can't do in your head.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button,
Yeah.
we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Near zero.
What do you want from theory alone?
Zero would be nice.
The visuals. Oh my God.
This is a matter of life and death. But I can perform this miracle.
World War II would be over. Our boys would come home.
It's happening, isn't it?
The breakdown.
World will remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. Until somebody builds a bigger one.
You are the men who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
So good. That build up.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Truman needs to know what's next.
2,
What's next?
1.
I want to go see it now.
Yo, honestly, the trailer. The trailer. How do I say this? It feels like after you see it, the trailer is like that much better. It's like the condensed version of the movie. Like that is amazing.
Yeah. No. So let's talk about the bomb, and we'll end it with the bomb.
The bomb it ended, dude.
Boom. It was done.
Kaboom.
No, but see, that was the part where all the pieces were coming together so quickly. The music was ramping up.
Mhm.
test, and then it got quiet.
Quiet. Yep. To me, that was the best part of the movie. Like,
Jesus.
because again, everything is so loud. Everything is so loud. His thoughts are loud. And when you think about it, after the bomb exploded as well, his thoughts went away. He didn't have those. Yeah. Again, that goes to that he was put here to build the bomb. You know, like it was like, because after that he scratched that itch. It was gone. But the silence and like, and then when it erupts into like celebration and like there's still that like, what the fuck was that? Like that, like, I mean, obviously they did like the perfect measurements, but that shit could have went wrong, you know? And exactly. I think he felt in that moment, like once it exploded, he felt the power of it. And I like how like it was silent and then it was like, then it hit. Yeah. Like,
well, I think he gave you the tease when they first blew up that first smaller, like just testing the detonation, and they blew up the one canister, and it was a delayed like sound, like it wasn't that far away, but. And it's what truly happens with an explosion. You don't just hear the explosion when it goes off. The sound has to travel. So I think he did that as like a test to say, you're not going to hear right away, which was great. But the fact that the screen is filled with fire and just like a stunning visual, and it is silent. It's dead silent in the fucking theater. Not one person is talking. We're hardly breathing. Yeah. Everyone's holding their collective breaths, just like, what the fuck just happened, and where's and you just like, boom, and then it hits, and you're just like, damn. I thought that was just pure.
And leading up to the bomb, there was some of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Oh yeah,
the guy with the sunscreen, and then he goes, "I got glass," and then he goes, "What's gonna protect you from the glass?" Like,
exactly. No,
it rubbed in. Yeah,
yeah, it was a good mix at that point of just a little bit of humor, because you're about to get really heavy in the movie.
But I also think because what your point was, you were like, up until the bomb, like I felt like a sense of anxiety, and when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is what Llama feels like. I feel like I'm a part of this, and like I'm trying to see what's going on, you know. And then once it happens, it's kind of like that release, and then it just becomes a like a kind of like a courtroom movie, you know. At that point, like for the rest of the movie, like it changed. It's literally like they could have put this out in 2 parts, and that both movies would have been like satisfying, like, you know what I mean. Especially if you watch them like back to back, they would have, obviously if you put them together, way better movie. But I'm just saying, like if one movie came out in the fall and the other one came out next summer, it's like, damn, like. Those were 2 perfectly put together movies that went well.
Yeah, and they said, even though it was a good change of pace to go to the courtroom style after that, like after he takes you and just he leaves you to dry. It wasn't bad, because now you're thinking about the bomb, you're thinking about, you know, what this means, and now it's the aftermath. It's the lives that were killed, you know, that were taken, and then what happens, and then reality sets in. Holy shit, we now live in this world that he's created, and that quote I keep repeating it, is like, who gave the man the power to destroy themselves. I was like, that is probably one of the most powerful, and I think it's a quote in the Bible, or it says Prometheus or some shit like that. I don't remember where it is, but yeah, man, that's the takeaway from the movie, was just the brilliance of the storytelling, the brilliance of the cinematography, the visuals, the sound, the music, the acting.
It's like a 9 out of 10 perfect movie. Like I don't think it's perfect. Maybe you cut a little bit of things out, like, but I don't know what you cut out. Like, obviously I'm not the one getting paid to do this, but I'm just saying, like, it's not perfect, but it's as close to perfect a film has come in a long time. And you know what I keep saying every week when these movies come out, is like, it feels like movies are back from post-pandemic. Like, it felt like movies were not going to be a thing at one point in time. It was like, damn, like they might stop making movies and theaters might like become obsolete. But like what Barbie and Oppenheimer showed you was that people are going to go to the movies, and they're still to this day. And then now you got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. like right after, which is like another perfect movie. It kind of was like what the Enter the Spider-Verse, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and then now Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like I'm telling you, my theater by my job is packed daily now. And I'm like, damn, like these two movies. I mean, obviously Barbie isn't as prolific, but like as good as Oppenheimer is, we're allowed to have a movie like Barbie that's not as serious. It's a little bit more lighthearted and kind of dope that they came out at the same time because like think about it, if you watch Oppenheimer, you like kind of feel heavy after. And imagine like doing the Barbenheimer thing, like and seeing Barbie after. That's gonna put you in a better mood, but you also saw a fantastic film beforehand, you know? So it's like
exactly.
Kind of a good contrast.
Well, I obviously when people ask about the Barbenheimer thing, one is obviously superior in terms of the quality of the film, but they're two different movies, completely. So you can't go, okay, which one is better? Like Oppenheimer is a masterpiece of filmmaking, and Barbie is a good movie,
and Barbie's a $1 billion movie.
Right?
Like, Oppenheimer is a masterpiece. Barbie's $1 billion movie.
exactly. And they both fit the audience that they were shooting for, and that's the thing. And that's, but I think to your point, Oppenheimer being seen at home is not the same. It is not the same. Like you could not have experienced the IMAX experience at home and gotten the same. Now, again, it's a good movie. We probably would have come out and said it was a good movie, but we probably would have been like, it's a little slow, and like it just depends. It depends. It depends on how you watch it. That's all.
I don't know if it was I think I would have enjoyed it just as much if I saw it in a thing. It's just the IMAX to me was like the first time I was seeing all this. Like I was like, damn, like everything. It really is worth the money. Like if you want to watch a really good movie, like it really is worth the money to see it in IMAX. But I think I would have been like locked in if I would have watched it here, like on my PC or some shit. Like I would have been like, what the fuck's going on? Because the movie is just compelling through.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I'm just saying, but that's what people were coming out to see in droves was like the experience and to be in the theater, and it was great. So, but now you see why I drive 45 minutes out of my way to go see movies at IMAX.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so I think again, we both are rating this very, very high. I think Oppenheimer is. I'm definitely gonna be. I think I'm gonna go watch it one more time in the theater. I think it's still in IMAX until Blue Beetle comes out. So I might go one more time.
Blue Beetle next week, huh?
I think Blue Beetle comes out next week.
I'm excited.
So
my mom texted me and said there's a new superhero movie coming out. It looks really good. Blue Beetle. Like, Mom, I knew about that months ago.
Well, I think Blue Beetle is gonna get a lot of the Hispanic audience.
I think so as well. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of ads in Spanish on my TikTok and everything
Telemundo.
Else. On Telemundo and a couple other. Blue Beetle. Anyway, so all right, so any last parting shots before we end our Be Kind Rewind on Oppenheimer?
I mean, obviously we're doing this 3 weeks late, but if you watch this and haven't seen it yet, go watch it, man. Just go spend the money. It's worth seeing it in theaters. And when it comes on streaming platform, I think when it comes on streaming platforms, we're gonna see like that burst of like people like, oh shit, I didn't know this. You know, like it's gonna happen again because, I mean, although it's kind of crazy, I don't think a lot of people did not see this movie. You know, I feel like a lot of people did go see this movie. But if you haven't, watch it and check us out. Pre-Llama Show, late night with ADJ Birdie, the Big Llama Show, 10 p.m. Eastern.
All the channels. Well, listen, AD, thank you so much for joining me on the Be Kind Rewind for Oppenheimer. Like I said, we felt so compelled to do it this quickly. Generally, Be Kind Rewinds are reserved for older films and films we've seen more than once. But this is a special movie, so I'm glad we were able to cover it. Guys, if you want to watch other episodes of the Be Kind Rewind podcast, look at our catalog. We've done a great number of movies.
I'm on like 6 of them.
Yeah, BLKOUT AD is on a lot of our movies. But yeah, if you want to see other movies, I think we've broken down Goodfellas, Tokyo Drift, Those are the main ones.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Malibu's Most Wanted. It's a good array of movies. So if you want to hear more movie reviews and breakdowns from us, check out the Be Kind Rewind podcast wherever podcasts are. We're on the YouTube, so if you go to the Big Llama Show, all of our video podcasts are there as well. So if you want to see our lovely faces and see what we look like, if you're listening to the podcast, you can go on YouTube, the Big Llama Show. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you're looking for Blackout AD, go to Blackout GG on his YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe there as well. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Oppenheimer, the Be Kind Rewind podcast. I'm the Big Llama. He is Blackout AD. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
I don't care what you people say, never follow rules. I'm a trendsetter anyway. Okay, I march to the beat of my own drum. They say I need rules in my life, well I got some. That's 1, kill the competition. 2, be a loyal dog. 3, and if they snitching on your man, send them to the mall. 4, when you party, go hard till you hit the floor. 5, if you didn't see me do it, what the hell you asking for? Welcome to my world. SINA.